Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming back to the stage Yorgos Lanthimos, Nicole Kidman, Colin Farrell. Come on out, everyone. Barry Keoghan, Rafi Cassidy, Sunny Suljic. Congratulations to all of you. Congratulations. I'd love to start asking you a few questions Yorgos. You received an award for the script of The Killing of a Sacred Deer in Cannes, very well deserved. Could you please tell us how your ideas are born?
Sure, they don't need a minute.
Is everyone okay?
The ideas, I don't know. It's a weird thing. You can never tell exactly when and how something came to our minds or what's the absolute initial thought. But I work very closely with Efthymis Philippou that I've written most of my films with, and usually it's just we start from a very small thing, either a situation or a part of a story that we're interested in, and we talk to each other, and we fill in the gaps, as we discuss, and just create this thing. And it's a process, and it's not like one moment where you go, aha, I found it, kind of thing. So yeah, we've been doing this ever since Dogtooth was the first film that we wrote together, and as soon as we finish one film, we just start discussing what it is we want to do next, and what interests us, and yeah.
When Colin's character Stephen is faced with a very difficult decision, we see him speaking to the high school principal, who references the tragedy of Iphigenia. Could you please talk about this choice and your use of Greek mythology in the film? Just really easy questions right now, starting it easy.
Yes, a Greek tragedy. Well, what happened was that as we started writing the script, we had the idea and then started writing the script, we realized that there were similarities with Iphigenia in Aulis specifically, and we never set out to adapt the tragedy or anything like that, but we just thought that it was interesting to reference it in the film and create this playful dialogue with the tragedy, so so that we can have this sense of something similar that has been explored in ancient times. It's still something very strong, and something that still kind of requires answers, but we don't necessarily have. So we just felt that it was important for us to reference it in the film.
Colin and Nicole, I have the same question for you both. You have such an
You two are doing so well over there. You should just it's not broke, don't fix it. Keep going.
Nicole, can I ask you a question?
Sorry.
Yes,
no problem.
You may, Yorgos. What would you like to ask?
Are you going to adopt this puppy that we saw a little while ago?
I'm not allowed to. I texted my husband. I sent him a photo of the puppy. He sent back, "Oh, cute. Absolutely not."
I knew it.
We're all dying to know what kind of a puppy was this.
It's the mother is a husky, and we're not sure about the father's origins.
It was the first time I ever saw live swag at a film festival. It was the strangest
Puppies
thing.
for everyone.
It was the strangest thing. There were 5 of the most beautiful puppies at this TV thing we went to.
And now Raf is going to sing.
My question was, how does it feel to revisit characters like Stephen and Anna?
Colin.
Nicole, to revisit, like to see the film, more upsetting than to do it, or more disturbing, or more uncomfortable than, well, it's always more uncomfortable really to It's for me to watch things than to be a part of them, because to be a part of them, you're somewhere lost inside them. And you have very little objectivity. There's always, I think, some form of third eye that remains when you're doing the work, that you can have a little bit of objectivity, but ideally you become a subject to the script and the character that you're involved in. So revisiting it, I didn't see it tonight, but I saw it in Cannes, and it's fucking disturbing. I mean, spade a spade, you know what I mean? It really is so disturbing. So, I mean, I have a... And I loved it. I thought it was masterful, and but honestly, I remember seeing There Will Be Blood, and at the end of seeing that film, I remember going, that was a brilliant, like a genius piece of film, and I never want to see it again as long as I live. It was that affecting, and it could stay with me today. I don't walk around thinking of Daniel Plainview, but I could recall a lot of that film, and I kind of felt something similar, albeit not as distinct, because I'm in the film, you know, watching this.
I didn't feel that. I was, I mean,
Fair
I
enough.
watched it and I was just fascinated. I loved the film. I sat and I watched it, and I just was completely absorbed. I couldn't believe I was in it, and that I had the chance to be in it. And I'm just so, I'm happy to be bringing it to the world. I know what it is, but I so believe in Yorgos, and I love being a part of it and supporting it.
And I think the performance.
I was completely absorbed as well now.
Amazing.
I don't want to... I was completely absorbed as well. I thought the film... I thought the film had maximum absorbency. I just want to be clear.
I like this family dynamic that's happening here. This is really nice.
Sunny a question.
Definitely. Well, I would love to actually ask both Sunny and Rafi the same question. What did it feel like to have Nicole and Colin as your parents?
So you first. As parents, or I suppose it was quite cool. Didn't feel too different, really.
Your mom is just like Nicole Kidman?
Yeah, no, I'm joking. Yeah, Nicole, don't know, different.
What about you?
I mean,
Remember what we said?
this one's great. That one's not. No, I'm joking. No, they're both inspirations to me, and I both look at them as parents and great actors as well. So.
Barry, so much of your character's, wake up. So much of your character's action is internal, and I'm hoping that you could talk us through your process of revealing Martin.
Revealing them.
You start off with a pretty major poker face.
Meaning?
I don't know. You tell us. What was it like to get under the skin of Martin a little bit?
Martin's a good lad, you know. I mean, I feel like he's messed up. He is. He is messed up. That's his responsibility there, you know, not mine. I just played him. I mean, I don't know.
Was this what the behind the scenes were like? Is this like a pretty accurate depiction of your dinners?
Just like the rap party.
This is it.
We're a little bit
messed
more
up family.
stressed on the day, but we still had a few laughs, no?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd love to take a couple of questions from the audience. Yes, in the aisle. The comment is, please be in another movie altogether.
And we were
And
just
Yorgos
planning
should
it.
direct, of course. And the question is? The question, which is a compliment, is where do you get your creepy ideas?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like we started discussing in the beginning. I don't know. We just find things we want to explore that reveal as much as we can. You know, parts of human nature that we tend to shy away from. I think. I think that's the attraction for me, to be, you know, coming up with stories that, you know, put human beings to a test. So I think, you know, I don't know, you just try and find stories and situations and that will create this kind of structure that will lead to those kind of revelations, I guess.
So we're going to get to some more questions. There's a lot of hands. Yes, up there. The question is, at what point of filming The Lobster, if it was during The Lobster, did you decide that you would continue working with Yorgos if he asked you to do another film?
Yes, I'm still not sure I want to do The Killing of a Sacred Deer. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. This was a strong rehearsal. But no, I just love working with Yorgos. I really do. He's incredibly unique as a filmmaker. And I mean, I'd be remiss if I didn't say every filmmaker I've worked with has their own style, their own somewhat inimitable way of approaching a story that's based on their personality and their desires as storytellers. But he's just a little bit more remarkable to me than most. And the environment on his set is one that's so conducive to work. And he puts himself through great pains. You know, you have to be careful when you're talking about what we do for a living, because we're so lucky to do what we do. The world the way it is, and I'm not saying we're more fortunate than anyone else, because that would be to judge somebody else, but we're very lucky, and I think we all feel it in our own ways, to do what we do. But he goes through great pains, and he loses sleep, and he tortures himself for what it's worth. I'm sorry, man, to let the cat out of the bag, but it's very, very important to him. It's a huge part of his life, and to be that close to that level of care is a really, really extraordinary thing. And the work that he and Lanthimos do together in initially writing the scripts, creating the stories as organically as they do over time, and then to watch him and he and Lanthimos, who's the director of photography on both the films I did with him, work together is gorgeous. So yeah, and there's a third thing we may at some stage do. It's not certain, but I'd love to work. I mean, it's always his call.
Sounds like you're in. In terms of having the story revealed, Yorgos, do you prepare the actors with the full script, or do you reveal as you go along?
No, they read the whole script. Yeah, I think. Yeah, that's
simple answer. Yeah. Looking, yes, you're waving. Thank you.
That's Nicole's favorite line from the film.
It was a comment thanking Yorgos for the term general anesthesia. And another comment, don't ever cut any of your hair.
But did you straighten your hair? Yeah, see? It's for another movie, it's not...
There was a noticeably larger amount of laughter in the beginning part of the film, and the question is, was this an organic process on your part?
No, I think it was it was written to go darker. I mean, the story, as the story progresses, obviously it becomes darker and becomes impossible. Choices become impossible. There's a dead end, and you know, obviously it was constructed like that from the beginning. But even at that point, we did try to sprinkle some humor as much as is possible at that point. But then it's an interesting test to see, you know, how many people can actually laugh all the way through, or, you know, at some point they go like, okay, this is enough, I'm not. You know, it's interesting, I think.
Definitely. Yes. Yes, you. The question is, are you thinking about sound design when you're writing the script?
I have a vague idea, but really when I get into it when I start editing, to be honest, because it's quite hard for me. I've only used music as soundtrack in the last couple of films I made. Before that, I couldn't find a way to use music, for instance, that was satisfactory to me in the way it functioned. And only in the last couple of films I've managed to find a way that the music becomes another character almost, and it's, you know, it's present. And so I spend a lot of time while editing researching the music. I have a vague idea of what I want it to be, and then I try to find what it actually is. Yeah, that part happens much in the editing, I think.
Yes, in the back. Yes. The question is, was there a symbolism behind the fan?
Oh, the fans on the ceiling? No, they were just there and it was hot. And good for sound design as well. Sometimes off, sometimes on. Mix it up a little bit.
But speaking of symbolism, there have been references to the film having potential homages to Kubrick. There are these tracking long shots, there are geometric shapes, wide open spaces like in the poster in the hospital. Was this a conscious decision?
Well, again, there were long corridors. It's a hospital, and it was. It's hard to put the camera anywhere else. No, but I mean, you know, Kubrick is one of my favorite filmmakers. But we never even looked at any of his work, you know, in preparing this or anything. And I do understand how people, you know, reference him quite a bit, and obviously some things, you know, unconsciously creep in, and but I start from what I figure out how I want to shoot the film, starting from the context of the film. So in this film, I wanted, you know, the camera to be like again like another presence, and that's why we chose a lot of the times to shoot from high above or from very low angles, and I think that's most. Something that you can identify in the film, like there was almost like another presence following these people around. So that's where it started, and you know, it wasn't trying to reference any other film or. But yeah, he's one of the greatest filmmakers ever, and Nicole can talk to you about him a little bit.
Please do, if you don't mind.
What's the question?
So Nicole, how was it working?
But I would love to know all of your influences. Where do you source inspiration when you prepare for roles in any way?
I mean, for this, it was very much just, a lot of it was just coming in and spending time. We spent about a week together, just, I suppose, building our relationships and our trust. Not so much rehearsing, but running through scenes and talking and being in the space, being in the hospital. And I think, I'm speaking for you, but so you could see us in the space and we could discover different rooms. It was pretty beautiful, that hospital. There was some really beautiful rooms, and we found places to sit and stand and talk, and so it was nice having that. I mean, I know a week doesn't sound like a long time, but it's actually, in this day and age, a luxury on a film. I mean, the inspiration for different films comes from different things. For this, it was very much, the script was, I mean, for me, I read it and I was completely absorbed, and I'd wanted to work with Yorgos for so long, and I'd followed his work, his body of work, and that was very much the inspiration. And then Colin and I sort of had a brief chat, and that was it. We were off and running, which is a great way to launch in. I mean, there isn't a lot of analysing and talking. It's more just being and doing, which I enjoy.
Colin?
What she said.
Thank you so much for sharing your talents, for sharing your craft. Thank you for coming to Toronto. Thank you for being a wonderful audience. Congratulations.